All right, if you're in the Baltimore real estate game, you know there's one question that can keep you up at night. How long is this appraisal actually going to take? Well, today we're going to break that whole thing down for you.
So maybe you're buying that dream row house over in Canton, or you're selling a condo down in Federal Hill, or maybe you're just refinancing the family home. No matter what, you know timing is absolutely everything in these deals.
But, there's this one critical step in the whole timeline that can feel like a total black box. And honestly, it has the power to literally make or break your entire deal. And yep, you guessed it, I'm talking about the real estate appraisal. Okay, so what even is it? Super simple, really. It's just a licensed pro's expert, unbiased opinion on what your property is worth. And that number, it's crucial. It's what tells the lender, hey, you're not loaning out more cash than this house is actually worth.
But look, you're here for the big question, right? How long does this thing take? Let's not waste any time. Let's just get straight to the point.
Okay, here it is. The short answer for a typical home in Baltimore, you're looking at about 1 to 2 weeks. And that's for the whole shebang, from the second your lender orders it to the moment that final report lands in their hands. But, and this is a big but, that 1 to 2 weeks is really just an average, a benchmark. The actual time can swing pretty wildly. So let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on during that time. So to really get a handle on the timeline, you gotta know that the whole process is split into two very different parts. First up, you've got the on-site visit. This is the part you'll actually see when the appraiser physically comes to your property. But honestly, the real work, the bulk of it, happens behind the scenes. We're talking deep dive research, analyzing market data, and writing up that super detailed report. That on-site visit is actually pretty simple. The appraiser is just going to do a walkthrough, measure the space, get the layout down. Then they'll snap a bunch of photos of the inside and outside to capture all the features and check out the condition. And of course, they'll be noting anything unique or special about the place. And for a standard single-family home here in Baltimore, this whole visit is surprisingly quick. We're talking like 30 to 60 minutes, tops. Now, if you've got a much larger house or one of those complex historic properties, yeah, you can probably expect that to stretch out to an hour, maybe even two. Okay, so how do all these pieces, the quick visit, the long research, all fit together into that 1 to 2 week window? Let's actually map out the whole journey from go to done. All right, the clock starts on day 1. That's when your lender officially places the order. Within the next day or two, so by day 3, the appraiser should be calling to schedule the visit. That visit itself usually happens somewhere between day 2 and day 7. And then comes the real crunch time, all that analysis and report writing. That's the part that can push you out to day 14. So all in, the final report usually gets delivered somewhere in that 6 to 20-day window, with most of them landing smack in the middle, right around that 7 to 14 days sweet spot. So here's the deal. Not all appraisals are created equal. There are a few key things that can either put your appraisal in the fast lane or slam on the brakes. So what are they? Want to speed things up? Make sure the property is super easy to get into and answer that scheduling call right away. It also helps a ton if it's a pretty standard home with lots of recent similar sales, what we call comps, right nearby. Now, what slows things down? Well, a big one is just an appraiser backlog, which, let's be real, is pretty common in the busy Baltimore, D.C. area. And if you have a unique property, like a historic row house or a multifamily building, or if there just aren't many good comps around, yep, that's going to add some time for sure. And of course, we're talking about Baltimore, so we absolutely have to factor in our own unique local market realities. So in a normal, steady market here in Baltimore, yeah, you can pretty much bank on that 1 to 2 week average. But when it's peak season, say there's a huge wave of people refinancing, demand for appraisers just goes through the roof. In that case, you absolutely have to plan for a longer timeline. Think more like 2 to 3 weeks, or hey, maybe even longer from start to finish. And you've got to remember, the specific story of your property really matters. Is it one of those classic Baltimore row houses, a slick modern condo, a single-family home out in the county? Each one has its own little quirks that can change the timeline. So a really tailored estimate is always going to depend on those specific details. So what's the bottom line for you? Well, with all these different things in play, from how hot the market is to your home's own unique character, every single appraisal tells its own story. The biggest takeaway here is to plan ahead and communicate. Now that you know all the moving parts, what do you think your appraisal timeline is going to look like?